Discover the incredible transformation of a lazy boy, how 30 days changed his life forever. Jake was stuck. At 28 years old, he found himself alone in his dimly lit apartment, surrounded by empty takeout containers and the glow of his gaming console. Once a bright-eyed dreamer, he'd become nothing more than the town's lazy boy. His mother worked 2 jobs to keep the fridge stocked while he sank deeper into virtual worlds, drowning out the disappointment swell around him. It wasn't just the weight of financial burden that pressed down on him. It was the relentless expectations of his family. Each longing glance from his single mother felt like a heavy hand on his shoulder, urging him to rise up. And yet, all he could feel was the suffocating darkness that came with failed interviews, where he came to see himself as unworthy. On one dreary Friday night, as they shared a hastily prepared dinner, his younger sister Emma, bubbling with ambition for her nursing career, threw down the gauntlet. "Jake, you need to change. Just 30 days. I'll help you," she urged, her voice breaking with emotion. Her challenge struck him like a bolt, catching him off guard and reminding him of all he had once aspired to be. He gripped the edge of the table, feeling its unwavering stability ground him even as his heart raced. With an uncertain nod, he accepted her challenge, instantly regretting the decision but aware this was a rare moment of connection. The once familiar joystick slipped away from his palms, replaced with tools and paintbrushes, as he began working alongside local veterans on a community project to build a playground. Early mornings soon became his new routine, where sweat mingled with the rising sun, and for the first time in ages, he felt alive. Laughter echoed in the crisp air, and with every swing and slide they erected, moments of joy crept back into his heavy heart. But with each passing day, doubt clawed at him. Would he ever truly fit into this new mold he was trying to shape? Yet it wasn't just bricks and mortar that he was rebuilding. Walls between him and Emma were showing cracks. More arguments surfaced as Emma struggled to understand why he remained hesitant despite her unwavering support. "I'm not you," he snapped one evening, frustrated that she couldn't see the world through his eyes. In that moment, he realized that as he fought against his own limitations, he risked losing her faith. The tide seemed to turn again as local bullies crept back into his life, sneering and mocking him for his past lifestyle. "Look at the lazy boy trying to be someone." The laughter was sharp, and it dug deep. Shame washed over him, but with it came clarity. This was his moment. With persistent cheers from the veterans and the community rallying around him, he straightened his back, confronting the laughter with a resolute smile. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With his integrity challenged, Jake stepped away from the shadows to stand tall against the crowd. There was power in vulnerability, a newfound strength that started to rewrite his narrative. Days bled together in a montage of sweat, laughter, and the spirit of community, but through the turmoil, there emerged a flicker of possibility. Could he redefine himself, bridging the gaps between his squandering past and Emma's bright ambitions? As he began to take strides toward change, the heartache of acceptance loomed ahead. Would he regain what he had lost but also face the uncomfortable truths about his family? The question lingered, casting a long shadow. Was this journey truly about finding himself or simply proving them wrong? Jake woke up that Saturday morning to the chirping of birds outside his window. Sunlight streamed through the half-drawn curtains, warming the cool air in his room. It felt like a fresh start, a new beginning. Today marked the end of week 2 in his 30-day challenge, and the thought filled him with both excitement and dread. As he rolled off his bed, uncertainty gnawed at him. Would all this hard work truly pay off? He pushed the thoughts aside and got ready for another day at the playground. Emma was already waiting for him in the kitchen, her bright smile cutting through the remnants of his self-doubt like a ray of sunshine. "Are you ready to build some fun?" she asked with a teasing tone, enthusiasm bubbling over. Jake couldn't help but smile back, the warmth of her support wrapping around him like a comforting hug. They worked side by side that morning, hands busy with lumber and hammers. Conversations flowed easily, laughter punctuating their efforts, forging a bond that had long been neglected. But just as things were starting to feel okay, bursts of hilarity from a nearby group of kids came to a standstill when the neighborhood bully, Kyle, swaggered up. "What are you two losers doing? Building a little playhouse for your imaginary friends?" He spat the words like venom, his friends snickering behind him. Jake's cheeks flushed hot. The sound of laughter that had previously warmed his heart now sent chills racing through him. He glanced at Emma, who gripped her hammer tightly, her own face drawn tight. "Ignore him," she whispered, but Jake struggled with the urge to snap back. Reassurance flickered within him, ignited by the men who stood a bit behind, watching. They were veterans, men and women who'd defaced true battles. It was their quiet strength that calmed him. He took a deep breath, focusing on the way the sun felt on his skin, the sound of hammers striking nail heads, the children playing in the background. "You know, Kyle," Jake called out, fighting the nerves in his stomach, "I may be a work in progress, but I'm doing something. What are you doing except trying to tear people down?" The unexpected confession rolled off his tongue, and silence enveloped the group. For the first time, Jake's voice carried weight. The laughter faded, leaving Kyle momentarily stunned. Then, with a flip of his hair, he turned away, retreating with his crew slinking behind him. Jake felt a surge of triumph. Perhaps those years spent as the lazy boy did not erase the strength lying dormant within him. As the day wore on, the playground began to take shape. Bright colors emerged where gray had once reigned. The sheer joy on the children's faces ignited something within him that had lain dormant for so long. It felt right. Each swing they attached, each slide they erected, added a layer to his fragile new identity. For the first time, Jake was doing more than just existing, he was contributing. Later that evening, while sharing a quiet moment with Emma at home, she turned to him with a wide grin. "I'm proud of you, Jake. You're really doing it." Her words were like a balm, soothing the wounds left by years of disappointment. Yet, beneath her praise, a shadow of worry lingered in her eyes. "Just don't forget, it's about more than just change. It's about who you're becoming." Jake nodded, but his heart twisted with uncertainty. Could he keep this up? Was this truly who he was meant to be? As he sat on the edge of his bed that night, staring into the shadows of his room, a thought clawed at him. The playground would be finished soon, but would he abandon it and Emma when the dust settled? Was he strong enough to stay changed, even when the challenges of life returned? Little did he know, the biggest challenge was yet to come. Would he be able to confront his past once and for all? Morning light spilled into Jake's room, casting elongated shadows across the floor. He blinked, pushing away the remnants of unsettling dreams that whispered insecurities into his ear. He was aware today would be different, not just because they were tackling bigger projects at the playground, but because a pulse of resolve now thrummed within him. He could almost taste it. He rubbed his face, shook off the fog of sleep, and headed toward the kitchen. There was Emma, as always, flipping pancakes like a seasoned chef. The air filled with a warm, sugary aroma. "Ready for day 3 of greatness?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Jake chuckled, responding with bravado that barely masked his nerves. "Let us build something epic today." Beneath the bravado, a flicker of fear remained. Kyle could return, with more mockery lined up, ready to ruin their efforts. After breakfast, they gathered tools and set out to the playground, excitement bubbling within them. The lack of color and life around the old jungle gym was being replaced with vibrant swings and bright slides. Children's laughter mingled with the sound of nails piercing wood, a symphony of joy. As Jake swung the hammer, the rhythm of the strikes began to feel like a heartbeat, strong and steady. But as they started to level a section for a new sandbox, dread bubbled back up. Jake heard the unmistakable taunts before he even saw them. Kyle and his gang, swaggering down the path. They loomed like storm clouds overhead. "You guys are pathetic. Ever thought of a career as clowns?" Kyle shouted, his voice laced with mockery. Jake's heart raced, but he focused on Emma, who was still, her gaze unwavering as she gripped the hammer harder, ready for a fight. "That's right. Keep laughing," Jake said, forcing the words out through a tightening throat. "Maybe you're just mad you never learned how to build anything good." He felt a wave of adrenaline rush through him. Kyle stepped forward, his smirk faltering for just a moment. "Look who decided to grow a spine. What's next?" he sneered. Behind him, his friends exchanged glances, unsure of how to react to this new side of Jake. But Jake didn't stop. "You know, you don't have to spend your time tearing people down. It's a choice. And quite frankly, you look sad trying to chase friends by being a bully. Why don't you join us instead?" His voice held a steadiness he hadn't expected. Just then, one of the younger kids, a girl with pigtails, piped up from the sidelines. "Yeah. Come help. We could use it." She beamed at Kyle, and the sheer innocence of her words seemed to cut through the tension. Kyle blinked, visibly thrown off by this unexpected turn, then he scoffed. "No way. Nice try, loser." With a quick glare, he turned back, motioning for his crew to follow, uncertain but clearly dampened. Jake felt a small joy at Kyle's retreat. Maybe today was a win after all. As the sun climbed higher, they continued building. The sandbox took shape, transforming the bare ground into a haven for laughter and play. With each handful of sand they poured in, Jake felt lighter, as if the weight of judgment from the past was literally being washed away. Later that afternoon, while watching children dive into the sand, Emma remarked, "You handled that well, Jake. I think they saw a different you today." Her admiration felt like a warm blanket drawing over him. "Do you really think so?" he asked, the uncertainty creeping back. "Absolutely," she replied, her confidence contagious. As they shared a moment of quiet, the playground bustling with joyful energy, Jake couldn't shake the feeling something deeper was about to unfold. Had he finally stepped past his old self? But his thoughts were shattered when a figure approached. It was one of the veterans, a man known for his wisdom and understanding. Eyes locked onto Jake's. "Jake," he said, voice low and serious, "can we talk?" The air shifted. A wave of anxiety washed over Jake. What now? Was it about the playground or something else entirely? Would this conversation challenge everything he'd fought for? With a deep breath he nodded, heart racing once more as uncertainty gnawed at his gut. What did the man want? The veteran motioned for Jake to follow him, his expression grave yet gentle. As they walked away from the sounds of joyous laughter and busy hammers, Jake's stomach twisted in knots. Was this about the playground? Or had Kyle's taunts hit closer to home than he realized? "Come over here, Jake," the man said, leading him to a quieter corner, surrounded by trees. The shade felt cool, a stark contrast to the rising heat of Jake's anxiety. "I've been watching you," he began, his eyes soft but firm. "You've changed in just a few days. There's a strength in you that wasn't there before." Jake shifted, his heart thudding loud enough to drown out the distant sounds from the playground. "Thanks, but it's not a big deal," he mumbled, trying to brush off the compliment. Inside, though, he felt the urge to take pride in his small victory over Kyle. "Don't sell yourself short," the veteran replied, leaning against a tree, his arms crossed. "Standing up to someone like Kyle takes guts. But it's not just about confronting bullies. It's about who you want to be. What do you see when you look in the mirror?" Jake's thoughts raced. What did he see? The reflection of a boy who had been pushed around for too long? Or someone who was just starting to carve out his own identity? "I guess I'm figuring it out," Jake said slowly, the weight of the man's gaze encouraging him to dig deeper. The veteran nodded. "You've got it. It's a journey, and it won't be easy. But every step counts. Today was just the beginning." He paused, letting the silence wrap around them like a comforting blanket. "There's more to this than just building a playground. You have a chance to build something greater, your confidence, your future." Jake felt a flicker of hope. "What if I fail again?" he blurted out, the words tumbling from his lips before he could catch them. "What if I'm not good enough?" The veteran smiled softly, a knowing glint in his eyes. "Everyone stumbles, kid. What matters is how you get back up. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. He placed a hand on Jake's shoulder, a solid anchor in the swirl of Jake's insecurity. Look at how you inspired those kids today. You just might surprise yourself. Jake looked back toward the playground. Emma was helping a few little ones build castles in the sand, her laughter ringing clear and bright. They needed this space, and he knew he needed to keep showing up not just for them, but for himself. Just as determination rose in his chest, the man continued, "There's something else I want to share with you, Jake. A story from my past. It might help you understand why this journey is so important." Jake felt his stomach flip, a mix of anticipation and dread creeping back in. What story did this man hold? Was it one of failure, or of triumph? "Before we go any further," the veteran said quietly, "there are things you should know about how fear can either crush you or forge you into something stronger." Jake's heart raced faster than before. What was the story that could change everything? As he prepared for whatever revelations lay ahead, the thought echoed in his mind, could this be the moment that leads him to true transformation? Jake's breath caught in his throat as the trees seemed to close in around him, amplifying the silence. The veteran took a deep breath, his gaze shifting to the ground as if searching for the right words among the fallen leaves. "I was about your age," he began slowly. "There was this kid. We'll call him Tim. Tim was my best friend. We were inseparable, tackling school projects and our bikes were practically glued to our legs." Jake leaned in, the vivid image of their shared childhood painting itself in his mind. But Tim, the veteran paused, his voice cracking slightly. Tim was different. He had a dream, you see. He wanted to be a star athlete, a football player, to be exact. He trained every day, even when the rest of us just wanted to play video games after school. I admired him, but I didn't understand. "What do you mean?" Jake asked, his curiosity growing stronger now. He believed that if he didn't have the skills on the field, he would always be just a boy. Never someone that people looked up to. I didn't get it until it was too late. One day, he got hurt, really hurt, before the championship game. I watched him struggle to get back up. At first, he tried to push through the pain, but it crushed him. He felt like he had failed not just himself, but everyone who believed in him. Fingers trembling, Jake touched the rough bark of the tree behind him. He could feel the weight of the veteran's story, the connection between them strengthening. After Tim's injury, I went into a dark place. The whole school turned their backs on him because he wasn't the star anymore. I did too. I was scared. Fear made me step back when I should have stepped forward. Jake met the veteran's eyes, suddenly aware of the responsibility that came with friendship. "What happened to him?" The veteran inhaled sharply. "He fell apart. But eventually, he found a way to rise again. It was difficult, and it took time. Tim discovered something more powerful than football, a sense of purpose that went beyond winning or losing. He channeled his energy into mentoring younger kids, teaching them what he had learned through hardship. He found a new way to shine." Jake absorbed the words, feeling the walls he had built around himself beginning to crack. "But did he ever play again?" The veteran chuckled softly. "Not in the way he imagined, but that's the point, Jake. Sometimes, the path you envision isn't the one you'll take. But the journey can lead you to something even bigger." Jake felt a surge of warmth, an unsteady hope fluttering to life. "So, it's okay to fail?" "It's more than okay," he emphasized. "Failure is a stepping stone. It will teach you more than success ever could." Jake straightened, his heart vibrating with newfound energy. "Then I can do this. I can keep working on the playground. Maybe I can help the younger kids too. That's the spirit." The veteran smiled broadly now, his eyes glinting with pride. "Every small victory will lead to bigger triumphs. You're in control of how this story unfolds." As they stepped out from the shadows of the trees, Jake took a deep breath. The air felt fresher, as if he were breathing new possibilities. As he turned back to the playground, he felt lighter, unburdened. What if this was just the start? But just before they stepped into the sun, the veteran gently placed a hand on Jake's arm. "Remember, Jake. The stories you tell yourself are just as important. Make sure they're ones that lift you higher. Jake's mind raced with endless questions, thoughts colliding like excited children in that very playground. If Tim could rise, could he also transform? And just as that question hung heavy in the air, the voices from the playground faded into the background. A new challenge approached, one he never saw coming. Jake's heart raced as he stepped back onto the playground. The chaos of laughter and shouts surrounded him like a warm embrace, yet something felt different. He felt a newfound sense of purpose tingling beneath his skin, sparking a fire he didn't know he had. What shall I do first? He mused, glancing around the swings, the climbing frames, still fixed in his ambition to help others. A group of younger kids huddled near the monkey bars, debating fiercely about the best way to climb them. Jake approached cautiously, recalling his own past fears and hesitations. Hey, can I help you out? He offered, his voice breaking through the chatter. The kids turned, their faces brightening as disbelief mingled with curiosity. You know how to climb them? One boy asked, skepticism laced in his tone. Sure do. Jake grinned, recalling the countless hours spent tumbling and conquering that very challenge. Let me show you a trick. As he demonstrated, guiding them step by step, laughter replaced any doubt. The kids listened intently, taking pride in their small victories as they started to pull themselves up on the bars. Watching their excitement ignited something deep within him. This was more fulfilling than any victory on the field could be. Yet, in the back of his mind, he felt the nagging voice of doubt whispering. What if he wasn't good enough? Just like Tim had felt when he was sidelined. But Jake pushed the thought aside. Here, he could make an impact. After their first climbing session, a little girl named Mia timidly approached him. Can you teach me how to swing higher? She asked, her wide eyes filled with hope. Absolutely. Jake enthused. Just remember, focus on pushing your legs out, then pull them back in like you're pumping. He steadied her as she took her first swing, a wobbly little leap into the air. As the rhythm picked up, her giggles rang out, drowning his insecurities. The afternoon flew by as Jake hopped from one group to another, whether it was showing kids how to catch or sharing his thoughts on teamwork. The joy around him was contagious, energizing. He could feel pieces of himself falling into place, his mission clear: to be a guide for these kids just like Tim was for the younger ones after his own struggles. But just as the sun began to dip behind the trees, a darker thought crept in again, tugging at his heartstrings. What about his own dreams? Was this enough for him? Would he just fade into the background, a footnote in his own life? As the bell rang, signaling the end of playtime, a voice broke through his reverie. Jake. It was the veteran, standing near the exit, a knowing smile on his face. How did it go? Jake tried to articulate the rush of emotions flooding him but faltered. I mean, it was incredible. But I don't know if I'm doing enough. What if I never find my way back to my own dreams? What if those are important questions? The veteran interrupted, stepping closer. But sometimes, the connections you create now can become the foundation for your future. Just look at Tim. He found his purpose while helping others. And you're already on that path. Jake felt a flicker of hope, the walls in his mind softening again. Do you really think so? Absolutely, he replied. But remember, the journey isn't always clear. Keep searching. Your dreams are just ahead. You'll find them if you keep pushing forward. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jake understood that helping those kids wasn't just about passing on skills. It was also about discovering pieces of himself he thought were lost. But still, there remained an unanswered question simmering at the back of his mind. Had he merely swapped one dream for another, or could he truly balance both? Before he could sink into those thoughts, a commotion caught his attention. A group of kids were gathered by the swings, whispering urgently. What's going on? He called, stepping towards them, curiosity bubbling within him. The smiles faded, and a serious air swept through the group. What challenge lay ahead? Jake's heart thudded, sensing another transformation was waiting just around the corner. As Jake approached the group of kids, he noticed a familiar face among them. It was Jason, the the school's notorious troublemaker, known for his risky dares and wild antics. His energy always felt charged, like sparks waiting to ignite. "What's going on, guys?" Jake asked, trying to pierce through the tension. Jason crossed his arms, a smirk playing on his lips. "We're gonna break a record," he declared loudly, making sure everyone heard. "See who can swing the highest before the bell rings." The kids nodded, some sharing nervous glances. Jake raised an eyebrow. This wasn't just about fun anymore. There was an edge of competition in the air. He stepped closer, sensing an unease simmering beneath their excitement. "Breaking a record sounds fun. But maybe we should think about safety first?" Jake suggested, his voice steady yet concerned. He remembered what happened last time he got caught up in a dare that went too far, falling hard, and the taste of grit in his mouth was one he didn't forget easily. But Jason waved him off. "Come on, Jake. Don't ruin the fun. They need a real challenge." Jake's heart sank. He wanted to be supportive, to show these kids how to push boundaries, but not at the risk of their safety. "Okay, Jason, let us set some rules. We have to keep it safe, no crazy flips or jumping off too high." Jason rolled his eyes but ultimately nodded. The others seemed to breathe easier, sensing the shift in energy. Jake couldn't ignore how they were all drawn to Jason's bravado, but he also felt a weight on his shoulders, a responsibility to guide them. "All right," Jake called out, clapping his hands. "Let us see who can swing the highest while still being smart about it. I want everyone to make it through without any injuries." One by one, the kids hopped onto the swings, squealing with excitement. Jake walked beside them, watching closely, giving tips, ensuring they each had their moment to shine without pushing too far. With each swing touching the sky, laughter echoed like music. Then, just as Mia reached her highest point, the unthinkable happened. The swing chain snapped, sending her flying toward the ground. Time slowed as Jake's heart raced. He rushed forward, diving to catch her, the weight of their friendship mixed with adrenaline surging through him. He landed hard, his body absorbing most of the impact as Mia rolled safely off him. The breath rushed out of him, and for a moment there was only silence. She lay there gasping, shock written across her face, and he held his breath, waiting for her to speak. "Jake?" she whispered, wide-eyed, tears already prickling at her lashes. "I'm okay, are you?" he replied, forcing a smile, even as pain shot through his shoulder. She nodded, relief visibly washing over her. The other kids gathered around, eyes wide with awe and concern. "That was awesome, Jake!" someone shouted. "Yeah! You saved her!" another chimed in, excitement mingling with disbelief. Yet behind their cheers, Jake felt uneasy. He had leaped without thinking, taking a risk that had nearly cost him both their safety. If he didn't manage this deeper connection to these kids responsibly, could he truly be the guide he wanted to be? As parents began to arrive, Jake quietly extracted himself from the still swirling whirlwind of emotions. "Let us think before we take risks next time, okay?" he called out, looking especially at Jason. Just then, the veteran appeared again. His gaze was steady. "You made a choice today, Jake. A moment of truth disguised as chaos. That's what transforming means." Jake felt a lump in his throat, the weight of his choices hanging heavy. He had faced his fear and emerged as more than just a friend, he had become a protector. But as twilight fell and the playground emptied, one thought loomed larger. Had he truly found his path? Or was this a mere detour off the road to his own dreams? The veteran caught his eye again and nodded as if sensing Jake's internal struggle. "You have more choices ahead. What's next will define your journey." Jake took a deep breath, steeling himself. The playground had been a battlefield for his heart today, and he wanted to embrace whatever challenge came next. But what if the next challenge pushed him too far? What lay ahead could shatter his newfound hope, or perhaps, it could build something even greater inside him. Was he prepared for whatever fate had in store? The next day brought sunlight that felt a bit too bright, almost mocking the turmoil swirling in Jake's mind. He walked through the school gates, the familiar chatter and laughter of his classmates sending jolts of mixed feelings through him. As he approached his locker, Jason sauntered up, still buzzing from the previous day's adrenaline. "Hey man! That was some heroic move yesterday. You're officially the school's superhero." Jason grinned, slapping Jake on the back. Jake forced a smile, still feeling the weight of his own decisions. "Yeah, but it was risky, Jason. What if I hadn't caught her?" "Come on. You did catch her. Everybody's talking about it. You should feel pumped," Jason replied, his eyes gleaming with the excitement of the moment. But Jake couldn't shake his unease. What if next time, he wasn't able to react fast enough? What if his attempt to protect someone ended in disaster? "Maybe we should focus on safer fun," Jake suggested, shifting the weight of his books. "Like a game of soccer or something. No one could get hurt." Jason shrugged. "Where's the thrill in that? The fun is in the risk." He leaned closer, his voice lowering. "Besides, I think we can get even bigger crowds for something like Swing High. We could set a record for the most people swinging at once, and you know how wild that could get." Jake's heart sank at the idea. "And what happens when someone gets hurt again?" "The swings broke for a reason," he countered, feeling a flicker of tension rise between them. "Simon! You stopped being fun. Everyone wants to see what happens when we push the limits." Jason practically bounced on his toes, his energy infectious despite Jake's reservations. Resigning himself to the give and take of adolescence, Jake sighed. "Okay, let us compromise. We can gather a crowd but make sure we follow guidelines, like when we're using the swings. No one swings too high without a spotter, okay?" Jason chuckled, shaking his head. Fine. You're such a buzzkill, but if that's what it takes to get you on board, let us do it." As Jason dashed off to rally the troops, Jake felt a mix of dread and excitement swell in him. It sounded harmless enough, but that day's potential thrumming in his chest also felt like a warning. Later, as the sun sank lower and shadows stretched across the field, a larger crowd gathered. Buzzing laughter swallowed his worries momentarily. Kids lined up to take their turns, swinging higher and higher, cheering each other on. But as he watched Mia and her friends flinging their legs back and forth, he couldn't help but feel a prick of anxiety. "Please don't push it too far," he whispered under his breath, his eyes darting to see if parents were watching. When Jason launched into a dare to see who could hold their swing the longest, flinging backward as if gravity were on their side, Jake felt his heart slam in his chest. If one swing broke, it could be a disaster. "Hey! Everyone!" Jake shouted, his voice rising above the laughter. "Let us be careful. Don't push it." A part of him wanted to be the calm in the storm, to guide them safely through their bravado. But he watched Jason smirk and leap onto the swing, sending everyone into uproarious laughter as he soared through the air. Feeling torn, Jake stood rooted in place, caught between being their hero and a reluctant guardian of safety. Maybe this was a transforming moment, or maybe he was just deeply entangled in a reckless fun fest. But when Jason's swing creaked ominously, Jake's heart raced. Would he need to leap again? Just as uncertainty etched itself on his face, an even louder cheer echoed from the group. "Do you see what this means, Jake?" A voice crooned in the back of his head, the veteran's thoughtful tone. "Every choice is a chance to find your strength. Will you jump again?" As adrenaline and worry clashed, Jake felt the pressure build. Could he find a way to lead without losing himself? The moment felt loaded, the air thick with possibility and peril. Looking ahead, Jake wondered when the dust settled, would he have what it took to be more than just a protector, but also a leader? Jake's heart thudded against his ribs as the crowd erupted into laughter surrounding the swings. Each cheer sent another wave of anxiety washing over him. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in fiery hues, and the thrill of the moment twisted his stomach. He wished he could be one of the carefree kids, but every giggle and shout echoed warnings in his mind. "Simon, Jake! Join in!" Mia's voice rang out, bright and cheerful over the chatter. She swung her legs high, confident and fearless. Her laughter felt like a warm hug, but it only amplified the tension coiling inside him. He watched Jason, swinging higher and higher, egged on by the crowd. Each crack of the swing sent ripples of fear through him. Would they really push it too far this time? Jake swallowed hard, torn between the need to shout warnings and the desire to fit in, to be part of the fun if only he could share in the laughter without the burden of fear. "Let us see how high you can go," Jason called out, a challenge that sent the crowd into frenzied cheers. Jake's pulse quickened. This wasn't just about the swings anymore, it had turned into a dangerous game. "Guys, really?" Just a little. Jake's voice faltered as he made his way through the throng. But no one was listening. They were caught up in the thrill. A sudden crack echoed through the air. The world froze as all eyes turned to Jason, who was now swaying drastically. The swing creaked ominously, slanting aggressively beneath him. Jake's heart momentarily stopped. "No!" The word shot out like a bullet from his lips. Just as Jason began to tumble backward, Jake acted instinctively. He surged forward, arms outstretched, willing himself to catch his friend. Time slowed, and every heartbeat rang like thunder in his ears. The world melted away, leaving only his single focus. With a crash, everything came alive again. Jason hit the ground hard, right in front of him, gasping in shock, pain etched onto his features. The crowd gasped collectively and stopped. Silence enveloped the scene for a fraction of a second before everyone erupted into chaos, some running to help, others backing away in shock. "Are you okay?" Jake knelt beside Jason, urgency radiating from him. Jason grimaced, a mix of disbelief and embarrassment flashing in his eyes. "I think I'm fine," he muttered, but Jake could see the pain the fall had caused. Looking around, Jake noticed Mia's concerned eyes filled with alarm, locked onto him. In that instant, something shifted. "Guys, let us clear some space," Mia shouted, jumping into action. Her poised authority drew the crowd's attention, urging them to form a circle, allowing Jason the breathing room he needed. As Jake helped Jason sit up, he felt a rush of unexpected pride. For a moment, he was no longer just Jake, the anxious guy who second-guessed every move. He was the one who acted when it mattered. "I didn't mean to scare you," Jason mumbled, still a bit dazed. "I thought it would be cool." "It could be ended badly," Jake said, frustration coloring his tone. "What were you thinking?" Jason looked down, the wild excitement replaced with sheepishness. "I don't know. I just thought we'd be fine." Staring into Jason's eyes, Jake felt the weight of that day sink in. Just like that, his reckless mentality had nearly crossed the line. "You guys have to be careful. Fun doesn't have to come with danger." As the crowd simmered down, and people began to check on Jason, Jake's conviction solidified. He realized he didn't have to choose between being fun and being safe. Maybe he could show that the two could exist side by side, but as the commotion faded, he felt a new wave of pressure wash over him. He still had a reputation to consider, expectations to meet. And how would he strike a balance? The sun dipped low on the horizon, the weight of his choices ahead pressing heavy on his soul. Jake turned toward the open field where everything had transpired. Did he have what it took to embrace this challenge, to lead with both heart and head? With so many unanswered questions swirling in him, the only thing clear was this nagging thought: what if by trying to protect others, he lost sight of how to protect himself? As dawn broke through the clouds, casting golden rays across Jake's room, a weight hung heavy on his heart. Yesterday's events replayed in his mind like a haunting melody, the swinging, the thrill, and the moment he leaped to protect Jason. He thought about all it took just to arrive at this point, yet doubts still clung to him like shadows. Jake pushed himself out of bed, feeling the warmth of sunlight on his face. Today marked the end of his 30-day challenge. It was hard to believe just a month ago he was the lazy boy, drowning in disappointment. Now, he was more than just a young man with a hammer. He was a protector, a guide. But could he maintain this newfound resolve? He headed to the kitchen, where Emma buzzed with excitement. "Jake, are you ready for the big day? The playground is finished." She beamed at him, her enthusiasm infectious. "Let us make it a celebration." He forced a smile, but anxiety bubbled beneath the surface. Yeah, of course. I can't wait. Emma, as always, read him like a book. She tilted her head, concern flickering in her eyes. You okay? Jake swallowed hard. It's just everything has been so intense. She nodded, her hand resting on his arm. Just remember, it's about who you are becoming, not who you were. With those words ringing in his mind, they walked to the playground together. The sun filtered through the trees, dappling the path in light as children played, laughter bubbling around them. As they approached, Jake's heart swelled. The playground was alive, colors splashed everywhere, kids swarming the swings and slides, their joy resonating like music in his ears. He spotted Jason chatting with Mia, the incident forgotten, their giggles echoing through the air. A wave of warmth surged through him. He felt like he had finally carved out a place for himself. Jake! Come join us! Mia called, her outstretched arms radiating pure joy. He hesitated but stepped forward, surprised to find he was no longer a spectator. He jumped into the fray, swinging kids higher, teaching them new tricks, and sharing laughs. Every interaction felt like threads weaving a new tapestry of joy and connection. But as he pushed them on the swings, his mind flashed back to the risk of yesterday and Jason's fall. Hey! Remember our deal about being careful? He reminded the kids, his voice steady. Let us keep it fun, but safe. The kids nodded, their eyes sparkling with excitement. He realized then that he didn't have to sacrifice fun or safety. He could lead by being there for them, both supportive and vigilant. As the sun dipped lower, families gathered around for the grand reveal of the playground, smiles stretching wide. The veterans stood nearby, pride in their eyes. It felt like a community coming together, investing in the future Jake wanted to be part of. Amidst the crowd, Emma's voice rang out. This is for the kids, and for everyone who made it possible. You're not just rebuilding a playground, Jake, you're reshaping lives. Emotion swelled within him. The weight he had carried for so long began to lift. With a newfound clarity, he stepped forward, confidence coursing through him. We're not just building a playground. We're building dreams. This is a space for laughter, growth, and safety. His words ignited cheers, the support of the community surrounding him like warmth. Jake felt a sensation he had never known, a connection that went deeper than himself. As laughter filled the air, he looked at Emma, gratitude shining in her eyes. In that moment, he realized transformation wasn't only in confronting the past, it was about forging connections, embracing change, and stepping into the leadership role he had always shied away from. As the sun set, casting warm oranges and pinks across the sky, Jake stood tall. He turned to the children, registering their excitement, their innocence. This was the beginning of something profound, and he was ready to embrace it all. Let us make it our mission, Jake declared, to uplift one another, support our dreams, and grow together. Are you with me? Yeah! Everyone shouted, echoing his energy, feeding into the excitement of a shared journey. With a heart full of purpose and the support of his community, Jake felt lighter. He wasn't just a lazy boy, he was a catalyst for change. As hugs and high fives surrounded him, he embraced the promise of what lay ahead. With hope and a smile brighter than ever, Jake was ready to keep building not just playgrounds, but connections that would last a lifetime. And now, join me in this journey. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss future exclusive stories filled with transformation. Leave a like to help this message spread far and wide. Comment below your thoughts about Jake's incredible journey. Your feelings matter, and I want to hear them. And don't wait not even 1 second to share this moment with at least 5 friends who need inspiration in their lives. Let us change lives together.